a lot of the extra money that Europe will start dedicating to defenses will go to the Americans to buy the equipment. So we will see still American equipment making their way to Ukraine. That is already good. And then the question of economy. Russian economy is obviously will try to circumvent sanctions, will try to work around, but we've seen significant increase in Ukrainian strike capability. Already now, Ukrainian strikes are able to hinder about 10% of the Russian capabilities for oil production. Russia is trying to repair it, but Ukrainians are striking it again. This will just grow. This will only grow. Like, there's no going back down. Like, Ukraine is significantly growing their capabilities of drone production. This is homegrown industry that was grown from zero. So there is not like there is a big stockpile that they just had like Russians did, and now it's going to be depleted. No. It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And while Europe might not have the weapon stockpiles, as I said before, it does have the money. Europe is ultra rich, incredibly rich. We will talk a bit later today about the size of the contribution of individual countries, just so we can see it compared. But overall, it would not be a crazy idea for Europe to even almost double their contributions to Ukraine. It would not break a sweat even, to be honest, in Europe, as you will see. So, long story short, strong Europe, support for Ukraine. I think right now we are drifting. I cannot say for sure, right? Because we haven't seen anything on paper. It feels that politically we are drifting towards the right decisions. There is a big discussions right now, and this is like an insight from a European. There is a big discussions, first and foremost, to align the European arms making. So we make essentially transnational contracts for the weapons manufacturing in Ukraine. So like something like Czech initiative, right, that buys stuff all across the world. We do this centralized initiative, and then it tries to get multiple countries to contribute to investments into the Ukraine. It is the plan of the Ursula von der Leyen that promotes the fiscal escape clause. So we are able essentially to take loans with no counting of our defense spending towards national budget deficit, which is going to open floodgates for a lot of investment in the weapons industry. And finally, something that I've heard just recently is that while the politicians in Europe might not, that this is something going to be very encouraging. While the politicians in Europe still maybe not have the full plan on how they can go on without US, mostly who's going to lead this, whose vision it's going to be, that's just normal. That's how Europe operates. There's always a discussion. There is no real discussion in militaries. The European militaries, as reported right now by some of the people that have been participating in like NATO meetings, the European militaries are approaching the current situation as a preparation for war. Like, they are, on all seriousness, they are revamping battle groups, they are scheduling plans, they are preparing everything that they need to do in order to participate in a full-scale conventional warfare on the European continent, irregardless of what the politicians will decide. The military is already hard at work. So I feel Europe right now is in a much stronger situation than it was 2022. There is a clear pathway for Europe to take over what is happening right now in Ukraine, even if US leaves. It will not go without pain, mostly because Europe doesn't have huge weapons productions. But if we're going to cut a lot of red tape, which is actually the biggest factor to slow down any kind of production increase in Ukraine, it's the bureaucracy, because Europe, then we will see very fast that Europe starts building just a lot more stuff.